So let's go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. EagleMortgageCompany.com is where you find them online, or you can swing by the office, stop in 114th and Davenport in West Central Omaha. But they, as the name would indicate, would help you with a home loan, a mortgage. And as a mortgage broker, they're not beholden or tied into one bank like, that's what happens if you go get a loan at a bank. At Eagle Mortgage, they can shop it around, figure out what's best for you because they get to know you, and they have a lot of different options. EagleMortgageCompany.com. All right. Well, the first item is involving transportation, Trenton. Earlier this week, the Omaha Streetcar Authority voted unanimously to approve let's call it a letter of intent to share information and coordinate with the city of Council Bluffs. Why do this? Well, the reason is there's a good possibility that this future streetcar might someday extend into Council Bluffs and perhaps all the way to downtown.
How cool would that be?
I think it'd be really cool. If you look at the streetcar system that we are building in Omaha, which is scheduled to open in 2026. It will, let's say, start at CHI Health Center Omaha, go down the 8th and 10th Street corridors, and then go east-west on the Farnham and Harney corridors to the University of Nebraska Medical Center. And it is expected, like the one in Kansas City, to create billions of dollars
for the riders too.
Collateral real estate development. And so Council Bluffs is saying, hey, we've been looking at how we can develop this First Avenue corridor. So if you're not familiar with that part of Council Bluffs, First Avenue runs parallel to Broadway from downtown out towards western Council Bluffs towards Omaha. It was a railroad track at one time. And now the thought is to run the streetcar down that because that will strengthen the Broadway corridor to the north, but create its own corridor. So you would have this spine of development and activity right through the heart of Council Bluffs.
Just so we give good information, Council Bluffs citizens would be able to come to Omaha as well as us going over there, right?
No, right. It would not be a one-way streetcar, Trenton. Okay. I think you might be the only person who was thinking that might be a possibility.
And no idea is necessary for the people to get back to Nebraska.
So about 19,000 Council Bluffs residents currently travel to Omaha for work each day, according to the City of Council Bluffs website. And also, this is interesting, roughly 60% of Council Bluffs residents live within 1 mile of that First Avenue corridor.
Oh, wow.
So
60%?
Yeah. So if you look at the density right on that corridor, not so dense right now. But if you look at what it could be, given the fact that more than half of the residents of the city live within 1 mile of it, it could densify pretty fast.
So how does it get over the Missouri? Obviously, there's going to be a new bridge, or
we'd have to build a new bridge, and that would not be a small endeavor. We're probably talking about up to $100 million. That bridge would likely be immediately south of the Interstate 480 bridge. And there's talk that if you're going to build that bridge for a streetcar, you might as well have pedestrian and bicycle access on it as well. And so some people are saying, hey, that would create a couple mile loop with the Bob Carey Bridge, so it'd be good for recreation and exercise and what have you. The other thing is, if this happens, the vision, and again, this is all very, very early, folks, the vision would be that Dodge Park on the east bank of the Missouri River directly across from downtown Omaha would be sold and turned into a dense, pedestrian-oriented, mixed-use development, kind of like a western downtown of Council Bluffs. And so then the thought is, then all of a sudden you have this amazing urban core, and it's probably going to take 20 years or more to develop the way you want it to, but
got to be thinking.
The potential's there. So I think this is some pretty exciting stuff that is definitely worth looking into. And by the way, I know we hear periodically from a lot of people, primarily suburbanites, that are saying, hey, this streetcar thing's a waste of time. Or my favorite one is, I'll never use it, and all this sort of stuff. But if you look at what these things do, if they're done right, in the right way, they become a tremendous boon to the city. You continue to develop a tax base in the city. You redevelop underutilized properties. You put buildings on surface parking lots, which generates tax revenue. It creates a lot of economic activity. And it's a good way of using infrastructure. It ends up saving taxpayers probably a lot of money over the course of 20 years.
And 25 years ago, that's what some people said from West Omaha and other places about the CenturyLink. The convention center arena, not everybody's going to use it, and it's a waste of money.
It's going to be a white elephant. That was my favorite one.
Thing called the Civic Auditorium.
Yeah.
And the music hall.
Why do we need the CHI when we've got a beautiful civic auditorium, which was falling apart? So, yeah, it was the same mentality. And then you look at the CHI Health Center, what it has sparked downtown, adjacent real estate development, economic activity. You think about the money that is spent on food and drink, including a lot of people from out of town, because the CHI Health Center is there. I see the streetcar line to be very analogous to that because of the activity it'll create. And I think sometimes people make the mistake of zeroing in exactly on whether the streetcar itself will be profitable or not. Probably by itself, probably not so much since it's going to operate for free. I think what you have to look at is what it causes. It's like any other investment. You have to look at what it causes and what it makes helpful, as if you were investing something into a business. Well, enough of that, because we got a couple other news items we want to get to today. These will be a little bit quicker than that one. But Heartwood Preserve, which is the 500-acre mixed-use development southwest of 144th and West Dodge Road. Beautiful-looking development so far, with a lot more to come. Construction on the two buildings that will serve as the relocated homes of Charleston's Restaurant and Mahogany Prime Steakhouse. Both are having the steel up, and the first one, Charleston's, is starting to be enclosed now. To the west of that building, of those two restaurant buildings, Gunderson's Jewelers is starting to enclose its future flagship store. We've talked about this in the past, but Capital Cigar Lounge out of Lincoln plans to build a two-story building directly north of that. And then I saw some foundation work this week in front of the Charleston's and Mahogany Prime Steakhouse buildings, where Starbucks will have a freestanding building. And then to the north of that, there's going to be a retail strip, which the only tenant we know of, I believe, in the retail strip is
Little King.
Little King, the sub sandwich place. Okay. There will be a couple others in there as well, but I don't think we know what those
just
are.
One Little King.
One Little King and an entire strip center. The Douglas County Board postponed a vote planned this week to approve construction on two mental health facilities near the Douglas County Jail, southwest of 16th and Jackson Street downtown. Two facilities combined would be 72,500 square feet, cost $60 million, and cost is part of the delay. I think some county
TJ
board
Morgan
members want some more time.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of expenses coming out. A lot of money came from the federal government, and a lot of that money's been spent. So let's do it right.
Yeah, it's amazing. They talk about the ARPA funding or whatever that's coming, and then people have a lot of ideas, a lot more ideas than there is funding. Yeah. Well, finally, Nebraska's unemployment rate dropped slightly to 2.1% and is now tied with North Dakota for second lowest unemployment rate by a state anywhere in the nation. And here's some other good news. I guess it's good news. In some ways, maybe it's concerning news because it means we don't have a lot of employment capacity to grow. Nebraska's labor force participation rate of 69.5%, highest in the country.
Excellent.
Let me just say that a labor force participation rate of only 69.5% being number one in the country, in some ways to me, seems pathetic.
If we're the highest, but the question is
some people need to get to work.
Why aren't those people working? Right?
Yeah. We got some slackers that need to go back to work.
Do they allow people to retire? If somebody's 70 years old, are they considered that they should be working?
Good question. I don't know. 69.5%. I think there's people out there that can get to work. But that's just me, and that is your news of the week with a little bit of commentary brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.